Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got the
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. And Jerry Don, it was the coldest game I've ever been to in Pittsburgh, but the boys got hot at the end and won us a game and kept whatever faint heartbeat we have still beating. What the hell did you think of that game Saturday, Jerry?
Yeah, dude, just a wild game. Very boring, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
It looked, I seen you sent me the picture of the beard frozen. That was wild. I knew it was cold,
Stiff.
but dude, you talk to some of the players and some of them said like it didn't really feel that bad.
No, I don't know how the fuck it didn't feel that bad, Jerry. It was freezing cold. So I did the usual, hit a Kenny Bong pregame, park the car, and then we had to cancel the tailgate simply because the wind was so strong. Tables would have been blowing everywhere. Couldn't have kept the food at any servable capacity. So we had to bag that. So I ended up, for the first time in a very, very long period of time, just pregamed at the bar. And then the short walk from the bar to the stadium, immediately my hands were already cold. So we get there. Obviously, there's nowhere to stay warm when you're at the game, and I had been offered tickets to sit in the box, and I'm just like, that's just not me, man. Like, if I'm going to tell people you got to come out, you got to support the team, they need us there, and then I sit in the box, that's a pussy thing to do. So I want to be a front line. I was out there, but yeah, by halftime, my entire beard, my mustache, all down the center of my face, just from my breathing, because you couldn't drink beer. I couldn't drink a beer. It literally froze in the can. So,
I didn't know how you were texting me during the game.
Yeah, Jerry, my phone kept dying. Like, it would be outside in the cold for like a minute so that I could tweet or send a text, and then it would just shut off. Wow. So I had to keep it in, I had a heated vest on. I had to keep it in the inner pocket just to keep it warm enough to be able to use it. But for them to go out there and put that game out there for how cold it was, let's just get right into Kenny Pickett, Jerry, because Kenny did something that we have been waiting to see, and it was fucking exciting. I realized they only scored 13 points, but for what Kenny did on that final drive was everything you need to see a rookie quarterback do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Forget the stupid shit that people talk about. The stats didn't look like they were good, and they only scored one touchdown. Great quarterbacks have games like that, but you got to win it at the end, Jerry.
Oh, yeah, this is the thing, I'll go back to. Listen, everybody's praising Justin Fields. He's great with his legs. He has yet to come from behind and win a game when it matters. You know what I mean?
Right.
Final 2 minutes, he's yet to do that. The only thing he's done is throw interceptions to close out games.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny did something that I've been waiting for, just like you all year is, to get that win when your back's against the wall and go out there last 2 minutes, go and get a touchdown. And he did it. Listen, I will say this, though. Next season, we can't have another one of these droughts with wide receiver touchdowns. Deontay Johnson has yet to score one the whole year. Pickens has what, 2 or 3
I think
touchdowns,
he has 3.
maybe?
Yep.
So there's your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, 3 touchdowns on the year. That's not good, man. That's not good. So next year, they better figure it out. Kenny's throwing what, he not even won a game, really.
He's not throwing one a game.
So that has to change next year. That's the only thing. My takeaway from Kenny this year is good. He got to play. I wish he started from the beginning. I really do. I think that falls on Mike Tomlin. I'll say that the rest of the time we do this podcast this year, Kenny should have started from day one. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe it was different. Kenny gets the first couple games under his belt, a little more confident. Who knows? We might have beat the Jets. We might have beat the Dolphins. We might have beat a Patriots team,
Yep.
And when you look back, all we needed was really one more win to make the playoffs.
against any of those teams. If we would
Yeah.
have just been able to, and Kenny obviously coming in on that Jets game, first game in, he forced a couple balls at the end of the game that
Yeah.
ended up we're up 10 with a few minutes left in the game. You
Yeah, I
shouldn't
think
lose that
4
football
minutes, right?
game.
I think it was 4
Yeah.
minutes left in that
Yeah.
game.
So that hurts, and we're always going to look back on it. And any of these seasons where the Steelers have finished lost, didn't make the playoffs because of tiebreaker, or they were one game out, you can always look back through those and realize that the Steelers lost 2 or 3 or even 4 games against teams that they were favored in, that they should have beat, that they had leads late in games.
This, for as bad as people make out the Steelers team to be, they should have 11 wins.
Yeah. It's insane. It's crazy to even say that, but yeah, I agree. They should have at least one more. I would say 100% they should have won one more of those games that they ended up losing them there at the end.
So if we run the table, we'd have, including your one win, we'd have 10 wins.
10 wins.
I think if we run the table, the Steelers should have 11 or 12.
And they very well could have. But, let's not just play, everything should have went our way, because other teams lose games that they shouldn't lose in that regard. But the one thing that we can build on this year, because the playoffs we're looking at a 2% chance right now, Jerry, a 2% chance of making the playoffs.
So why don't you kind of explain to the people, because listen, I'm a busy guy. I read Twitter, but I'm not on it nonstop. We need pretty much the Dolphins to lose out or lose 2 of 3. Jets lose 2 of 3. How does it work?
So because the Chargers won, they clinched.
Yeah. So Ravens and Chargers are there.
They're in. Yeah. So we're battling for 7. We're battling for the 7 spot right here. So what it looks like is we have to win out, which means we have to beat Baltimore this weekend. Then we need to beat the Browns at home week 18. Yeah. Then you're looking at Miami has to lose out. They play the Jets and the Patriots.
Now is Tua hurt?
Tua is done. It looks like he should be done for the year. There's no way they can put him back in with a third. 2 on the book concussions, and now this third one that we're pretty sure, should have been his third on the books, but they're only going to say that he had 1. Obviously, that first one they're going to say that he didn't actually get.
That's very big for us.
Huge, because the Jets are good enough to beat the Dolphins, and the Patriots are good enough to beat the Dolphins, and without your starting quarterback, there's a chance. I don't want to get crazy about this, but there is a fucking chance. And then the Jets need to lose to the Seahawks. Okay, which again is doable. You're going to have
this week.
That is this week, yes.
Okay.
And then in week 18, the Patriots have to lose to the Bills, which the Bills will still be playing for that number 1 seed. So they're going to, oh yeah, they're still going to be playing because they're going to be battling the Chiefs, brother. So there's a legitimate chance that
who are the Bills playing the last week of the year again?
The Bills are playing the Patriots in the final week.
Patriots. Okay, Patriots. Gotcha.
And the Patriots have to lose that game. So the Steelers need to win out. Miami has to lose out against the Jets and the Patriots. The Jets need to lose to the Seahawks, and the Patriots need to lose to the Bills. It's not insane. It's not outside of the realm of, reasonable expectation that it could happen. Do I think it will? Probably not. It's just, it is a tall task, but it could be done.
The Steelers can, so you're saying the Steelers can go into Sunday Night Football with their season done?
Technically, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
It could be over by the time they kick off Sunday night, but if it's not,
and they'll know that.
Oh yeah, 100%. All the games will be done before they take the field Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, let's look at how we got here though, because to circle it back to what we did see out of the Steelers against that Raiders game was that Kenny, while people again are going to say, oh, he only threw the 1 touchdown, in those elements, in those conditions, and if you weren't there, you don't get to sit behind your keyboard and talk shit about how the Steelers offense sucked and Kenny Pickett didn't play a good football game, because you're out of your fucking mind. Derek Carr looked terrible. He looked really bad in the same elements, same conditions. And what did everybody talk shit about Kenny Pickett prior to this season? His biggest knock, little tiny hands. How is he going to play? Exactly. How's he going to play Northeast football, anywhere in Pittsburgh? He's going to have the gloves. He's going to have all these fumble issues. He had more zip on his balls on Saturday against the Raiders than I feel like we've seen all season.
Yep. That one pass to Deontay Johnson on the left side,
outside,
that was almost a pick 6.
Yep.
That was a dart.
Jerry, there's a window that's like fucking 4 inches before that ball gets taken to the house, and he puts it outside of anywhere that the defender could have got, and only DJ could have caught that ball.
Yeah.
That's a huge that tells me Kenny still has a ton of confidence in his arm. He hasn't been rattled by anything we've seen there. And B, he's still not afraid to make some of these throws, Jerry. And he's capable of making those throws. That's an NFL throw, Jerry.
He is. One thing next year, we got to figure out a way to throw the ball deep, just have to figure out a way. So that last possession we had, now we did score a touchdown, which I'm thrilled about. Don't get me wrong. I felt like during that last possession, there was a time where it was they just got a first down. I think Pat got the first down. They were around the 50-yard line. I texted you, 1st and 10. You fucking just take a chance. Just throw it up to George Pickens. Just throw it up. If he's one-on-one, which he was, just let him run a fly route and throw it up to him. I want to see more of that next year. I really do.
The Steelers, one of the biggest glaring weaknesses that we still have this year, and I'm going to shut this down immediately. Matt Canada still has to go. And I'm starting to see this steam build up, and it's starting to pick up on Twitter. Oh, he's going to come back. Look, for everybody that still defends Mike Tomlin, yeah, it's great because he's proving you all right, and Jerry and I look like fucking idiots because he's turned this season around and they're in the hunt and everything else about it. But if he brings back Matt Canada, it is still done. That's still bad coaching. It does not matter. Matt Canada is still not good. What the Steelers did a lot that I still cannot fucking stand Saturday night is they throw short of the sticks. They throw short of the sticks on 3rd down. A lot of their passing routes are 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. They don't push the ball downfield. We have a non-explosive offense. We do not have an explosive offense. So everyone can get excited. A few weeks ago, we put up a 21-yard drive or a 22-yard drive against the Panthers and scored a touchdown, longest drive and blah, blah, blah. It's irrelevant, though. If it's still taking you 22 yards, yes, when you're converting them, that's awesome against a bad football team. But it should not be taking the Steelers as long as it is to get downfield with the explosive options that they have, like a George Pickens, like you're saying, Jerry. So Matt Canada he's still just not a good offensive coordinator. His scheme is still just not good. I think you're starting to see Kenny grow in a bad system, which is awesome. It's a testament to how good Kenny Pickett can be, but it's not a testament to how good Matt Canada has been because he's still been really fucking bad.
Yeah, I even think Steve Smith, former wide receiver, played on the Panthers, played with the Ravens. He was saying during the after the game, like he coaches like it's college football. You know what I mean?
He called it a Saturday offense.
Yeah, Saturday offense. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and if you got other people that know the game of football who've played for over a decade, you know what I mean? You know, we see it. These people see it. How can this guy stay?
And that's what I'm saying. And I'm just worried. I'm just so fucking worried they're going to keep him for another year, which is just like, you're just prolonging the inevitable because you know he's not going to get another contract after that. No. So what? Just
with
cut
anybody.
Right. Cut it off. Let's just cut it off. At the end of this year, I will not give Mike Tomlin 1 second of reprieve if he brings Matt Canada back. I just won't do it. Right. And he might not be a bad head coach, Jerry, because I'm sure you saw the video where Sutton picks it off and everyone's hyped up around Tomlin and they love playing for the guy and everything else. But it's just a little shit like that. And did he make some other mistakes in that game? Jerry, should you have seen Chris Boswell attempt a 52-yard field goal in those conditions after missing a 40-yarder?
What was he thinking? The guy just missed a 40-yarder left. The wind took the ball. Why are you going to try a 52-yarder? And it was what was it? It was going to be 4th and 4.
4th and 4. 4th and 4.
Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Man.
4th and 4, whenever your offense is moving the ball, that's where you just got to leave it in Kenny's hands and see what we can do. Because all the good teams, they would have just stayed out there and ran the offense out. Not a knock, though. They won. No. He won the game.
If the Steelers, if football was based on, hey, if this team gets past the 50, it's considered 3 points, let's say. Steelers drive the ball better than anybody in the NFL, I think.
Right.
They get to the opposing 50 just multiple times a game, past the 50. They get to the 40 usually and stall out, or they get to the red zone and kick a field goal. They got to get better at that. They have to.
And that's what I'm saying. That's scheme, Jerry. That comes down to scheme. He's just not good at scheming guys open that are in that area. Now, I will say this. Let's run down. You had said that you got to throw up the ball to George Pickens. I'm going to read you a stat. Since 2016, the most contested catches in a season by a rookie, George Pickens was 17 in 2022, and DK Metcalf had 17 in 2019. Wow. You have to think in the next 2 games, Pickens will ultimately take over that for the most contested catches. a few weeks ago, I had said something that is why you throw the ball up to George Pickens on the contested catches, the combat catches, that type of shit, the deep balls over Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he is more capable of doing it. He's just better at it. Some guys have a different toolbox. He has a way better toolbox as far as that is concerned than Deontay Johnson. You got to scheme those things in. Matt Canada has got to see that and be better at it. He just simply is not.
No, not at all. One thing I will say this with George Pickens, I mean, if you watch him, I don't think he knows how to run a route. No, like seriously, have you watched him like run and like I don't think he knows how to run a route. And imagine, with a whole off season as the years go on, when he understands how to actually run like Deontay Johnson. I don't care what anybody says. He's a top 10 route runner in the league.
He might be a top 3 route runner in the league.
Yeah, dude, he runs great routes. He's crisp. He's fast.
Yeah.
George does not know how to run a route whatsoever. And you know what I mean? So imagine what he's going to be like in the next year or two with Kenny. They already have a good rapport. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be special.
Absolutely. And on that final drive where Kenny goes 7 of 9, 75 yards and the game winner, he did a lot of things that were outside of the pocket. He extended plays. Look, I'm never going to compare Kenny Pickett to Big Ben. There's a lot of body of work we're going to have to see before we can ever really make those comparisons. But what he did and what we saw Big Ben do for so many seasons, Jerry, was get out of the pocket, outside of structure, and still make a play when you had to make a play. When game is on the line, back against the wall, you have to fucking go out there and make a play. And Kenny did it in those elements when it's cold, when he has little hands, when he has gloves on, the wind is howling, it's snowing, it's sleeting. He goes out there 7 of 9, 75 in the touchdown, and he spread the ball around. On that final drive, Najee had a couple touches, Freiermuth had a couple touches, Pickens had the game winner, and Deontay had a couple touches. That is, they used all their weapons and they used them beautifully to end up winning that game. That is the Steelers are growing into something that looks really nice going into next season, but it's why I really desperately would love to see us make the playoffs just for the experience factor.
I would love the experience for sure, but I'm actually really excited for next year because you got so many young guys. I mean, the Steelers, Pickens and Deontay, they're two special guys, right? Then you add in Najee Harris, which, the back half of the year has been really, really good. Jaylen Warren got that first year of experience. Then you bring on a speedster in Calvin Austin. You got Pat Freiermuth, who's arguably a top 5 tight end in the league, So you got this young group of guys who are all gelling together, who are going to have a whole off season. They already played pretty much, 12, 13 games besides Austin together. You know what I mean? Because Mitch played a couple games here and there. But, you have all these young guys and you'll have a whole off season to work with them. So, coming into next year, it looks good. It does look good.
It's exciting. It's exciting. It's hard again. We say this every week. It's really hard to not be excited, but we've been asking for Kenny to have one of those games where he put, a statement game. I would think of every win Kenny has had this season, that was the most statement-esque.
Yeah.
You got to win games in the fourth quarter, Jerry. You got to win 1-score games. If you want to be considered one of the elites, and if we want to know that Kenny can be one of those guys that carries the franchise for the next decade plus, you got to end up winning those games. And he did. You cannot take it from him. I don't give a shit what people say about his stat line or anything else. He got it done when you had to get it done. What is the ultimate goal, Jerry? What is the ultimate goal?
Win a football game. Win a Super Bowl.
Win the fucking game, Jerry. And he did it. He did it. So step back off of the fucking hate. Now, he also had 244 passing yards in those elements.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a good game. We've been asking for, 250 passing yards. And here's the thing that people are failing to realize if you're just looking at the stat line. He had a 15-yard completion to Freiermuth that would have put us at like the 5 that Freiermuth dropped. Would have extended the drive, 3rd and 8. Kenny rolls out right side, hits Muth in the hands, and he drops it. Okay, that's another 15 yards. So now you're looking at 259. And then he had Deontay Johnson on a 20-yard slant across the middle, hits DJ right in the hands, and he drops it. Kenny could have been pushing 275, 285 passing yards if the guys just catch the balls that hit them in the hands. Yeah. So then you're looking at, 26 of 39, 280 yards, or 28 of 39, 280 yards, and a touchdown game winner. Terrible interception. He did have a really, really bad interception.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a bad pass under pressure. You know what I mean? Good thing that guy didn't take that to the house.
Right. Right. And then the very next play, let's shift this over to the
Derek Carr.
defense. Yeah. I mean, Millette intercepts it on the very next play. The defense, Jerry, the defense played their fucking asses off. They played their asses off Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They did, man. I mean, I can't say enough about the game Cam Hayward had. I mean, just dominant the whole game from the first snap to the last snap. He played his ass off, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So defense did great. I mean, they shut down Devontae. Devontae Adams didn't do anything.
Everything you were worried about last week. Well, what was your biggest fear?
I was scared that Devontae Adams was going to snap. I thought he was going to go off.
They held him in check, man.
I don't even know if he had more than 3 catches.
I think he had, I want to say he had like 35 yards or so. It was a very low number. It was a very low number. And Josh Jacobs, that was our other fear because our run D has been so suspect and we've been gouged by good running teams. The Raiders have the number 1 rusher in the NFL, and he was nearly non-existent for, you know, other than the first drive, which they came out and smacked us in the fucking mouth.
Right down the field.
I'm like, God, this is going to be a long 4 hours. I'm freezing. My fucking fingers hurt. My toes hurt. I'm like, this is just not going to be good. And then they settled right in, and they got it done. I'm going to read you Cam's stats because he was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yep.
7 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 pass defense.
It's big. That's big.
Jerry, we've been beating him up on this show. I've been saying he needs to restructure his deal. He's just going to make too much money next year, which I still stand behind.
He still got to restructure his deal. That's too much money.
Agreed. But, I mean, that's production. In the second half of the season, Cam Hayward has been one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the NFL. Slow start, which you might have. He's getting a little older, but he got it going later. And also, I think people need to understand that that's a little bit of the TJ Watt effect.
Yeah, where has Leal been? Have you seen Leal? He's
getting some spotty snaps here and there. He had some snaps this past week. Nothing that stood out. I mean, he's working back from injury. Rookie, you know, he started off hot early in the season. I think it's going to take a little time to get back into the rhythm of it. I thought Montravius Adams had a good game. I thought he played well up there for the Steelers. One thing that is concerning about what the Steelers had out there, and it's a major glaring weakness, and we cannot look this up. We can't look this over in the offseason, is that Robert Spillane led the linebackers in snaps.
Yeah.
That just can't happen. He's just not good, man. He's just not good. He outsnapped both Devin Bush and Miles Jack. I mean, I really just don't want to see that.
They're obsessed with him, bro.
I know, and I don't know why. He's not good. He's slow. He's not a good linebacker. He's not good at coverage. He is terrible at coverage. I mean, we got to look at linebacker. The Steelers are really going to have to look at legitimate linebackers in this offseason, and they're going to have to sign Cam Sutton, Jerry. They're going to have to sign Cam Sutton.
Yeah, they have to. Witherspoon is
done.
I mean, how many years did he sign for?
I think he just signed a 1-year deal.
1 year?
Yeah, I don't think he's any longer than this. Yeah, and it was a small deal anyway. It's an irrelevant number. You could dump him if you wanted to. Now, what about this
guy, William Jackson, that hasn't played a snap?
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Millions next year.
13.5 if they keep him. They're going to have to look at that number. There's no way he's getting $13.5 million coming off of a couple of very bad seasons in Washington and these injury concerns. He hasn't played it down with us. I mean, you would hope that they activate him and he plays these last 2 weeks. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's like a project that we haven't seen any progress on.
Yeah, that was very, very weird signing.
Three interceptions by the secondary, though. You had one by Millette, you had the one by Minka, and then you had the game-sealing interception by Cam Sutton. I mean, again, the defense rose to the occasion, and they're going to have to do it. If everything we've talked about, all the scenarios, the Steelers sneak in, whatever, I would just like to be able to go into the final week of the season against the Browns with a chance. I just want to get everything that goes our way this week.
That'd be so cool, though. I mean, I'd 100% go to the game, no doubt. But, like, if everything works out and the Steelers have a chance the last week of the season, you know, that'd be amazing.
It'd be a blast. There's nothing like that. Scoreboard watching, you're nervous. You're fucking not just watching your game. You're watching 2 other scores. You know, if you're even in a chance, the stadium will be rocking because everyone's going to be excited and nervous, and you have a chance. I mean, there's nothing. That is one of my favorite things about being a sports fan is that final week down to the wire where you're just staring at it like, this has to happen. This has to happen. Last year, that Raiders-Chargers game, it looked like it might go to a tie. Both teams
Oh,
get
yeah.
in. We're sick as fuck. He makes the long field goal. I mean, there's a lot of excitement that you get out of that. And that's what you watch all season for. These next 2 weeks are why you watch the game. And we quit on them, and now maybe we're back on it. I'm not back on it yet, but if everything goes their way this week, I really think the final week of the season can go for us.
Yeah, I wonder what they would do, because that game still it's to be announced what time and date. I mean, the Steelers could have 2 primetime games back to back.
Mm-hmm.
They already have the Ravens game.
Yep.
And if all goes well, they could put the Steelers again on a primetime game.
Which would be absolutely incredible to see end the season back-to-back primetime games. Actually, it'd be back-to-back because we played the Raiders game Saturday night. So, I mean, I think, and the NFL's not stupid. They know ratings. And if the Steelers are coming on and they have a chance to be in it, the Steelers are a major draw. That's big time. That's one of the biggest fan bases in the game. So they're gonna get those, which tells me that then next year the Steelers will have quite an electric primetime schedule, because if everything we're believing and seeing and the trend is upward and onward, and Kenny Pickett is growing, and the Steelers made a run late in the season, even if we miss the playoffs, the Steelers are going to have a pretty electric primetime schedule next season, because whether the haters want to admit it or not, the Steelers are coming. I mean, they're coming. Kenny Pickett, if he can continue to grow like this, and I believe that he can, if he can continue to grow like this and we make some changes to the offensive scheme, move Canada out of here, the Steelers have a chance next year to at least contend, to make the playoffs. I believe that. So it is exciting. I mean, I don't give a shit. I celebrated it very hard Christmas Eve. I was beat up on Christmas Day because I celebrated so hard well into the wee hours of the night, because they're giving us something to be excited about as fans, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good time to be a Steelers fan for sure. With all, with everything in front of me that I look at, it's like, okay, I mean, if this isn't the year, maybe next year we get closer, and then Kenny, maybe in his 3rd year, has a chance to win a big one. You never know. I mean,
that's exactly it. You do never know. That's why if we could sneak in this motherfucker, I know that we were very high on season's over, let's move up for the draft picks. But at this point, we're going to draft in the middle of the pack. I've accepted that. We have,
I mean, probably 13, right, to 16, around there, most likely.
Right. More than likely, we're going to be anywhere from 12 to 18, somewhere in that ballpark. I've already accepted a couple picks here and there is not going to break the franchise. We're not going to miss out on something that we're going to be upset about, hopefully, knock on wood. But at this point, when you're on the doorstep and you have a young offense, a super young offense, do you not want to see that team make the playoffs? I understand last year we got our doors blown off. That was I wanted to make it for Ben. I knew we weren't going to beat the Chiefs last year. That just wasn't going to happen. And I know that we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, but the experience is huge. And plus, it's the momentum that you build out of that team. They start to believe in Kenny Pickett. Then you start to have everyone buying in because they think that there's a chance that the Steelers could be something. And that's how you can continue to keep a franchise moving towards the ultimate goal.
Could you imagine we somehow sneak our way to the playoffs and we go to Arrowhead and Kenny Pickett beats Patrick Mahomes?
Fucking hell, Jerry.
What a story that would be.
That'd be my 3rd time back at Arrowhead then for the playoffs. All 3 times that we've had to go there. Beat them a few years back, got our dicks pounded in last year, and then this year would be electric. Arrowhead is I don't know if I've ever spoken to it. That's my 1A. It is my favorite atmosphere to watch a football game in. It is electricity out there, Jerry. Would you go? Would you go if they snuck in?
No.
You wouldn't go to Arrowhead?
No.
Not a playoff guy.
If they would win, if
I paid for it, if I paid for the trip.
No.
Really?
No. Actually, one of my most hated people in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's why we got to go.
Nah, I wouldn't go because
we would probably lose.
Yeah, and I can't stand him. I don't know what it is. He's a great talent. He's a great quarterback, probably the best in the league. But there's something about him that I just can't stand him.
Maybe it's the voice.
I would like to put my Timberland boot right to his face.
Yeah, maybe it's the Kermit the Frog voice. Yeah, I mean, we had him in high coverage. He was outside. I mean, we could have hit him. I was just slinging the ball well.
Yeah, I just don't know what it is, man. I would just love to just stomp him.
So would I. And I think it's just because he's so fucking good.
Yeah, that's probably just what it is. He's just so
Yeah,
good.
he's just so fucking good. I mean, it would be tough. I would more so like to see us be able to go to Cincinnati. I would really like to see the Bengals be able to flip this thing because they beat the Chiefs, did they not?
Yeah, they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, so they would hold that tiebreaker head to head if it came down to it. And if we could
Wait,
flip
who did the Bengals play the last 2 weeks? And who did the Chiefs?
Cincinnati Bengals schedule.
Here's the upcoming schedule.
Oh, Bengals got the Bills and the Ravens.
2020.
Chiefs schedule.
Here's the upcoming schedule for the Chiefs.
Broncos,
between
Raiders.
Sunday and January.
So
So
realistically,
it looks great for the Chiefs.
yeah, the Chiefs look like they could take the 1 seed, which then could come down to the Bills battling the Bengals for that 2 seed. I mean, this could break out a bunch of different ways. I wouldn't even mind going to Buffalo. That'd be an easy drive, easy playoff. I just don't want to go back to Arrowhead because I think that they're going to fucking stomp on us. And I
I'd
just
rather
don't
play.
want that.
I'd rather play the Bengals.
Yeah, oh, if we played the Bengals, there's a chance. I mean, look at it. We beat them week 1, and then we had a legitimate chance to beat them at home. So I would love to play. You never know. Division game, it could break to either way. You play each other so often that it's hard to surprise them.
To get the number 2 seed for sure.
Yeah, if we can sneak in the 7. Again, let's just get through this fucking week and see how it goes. But Jerry, what I know that you had some thoughts on the Franco Harris thing, and you know, we'll take a moment of silence and commemorate what Franco meant to the franchise and what he means to this city. Because to the city of Pittsburgh, I know you're not here, Jerry, but he is one of the greatest influencers that the city had. I mean, he represented Pittsburgh in a beautiful way. Any charity drive, anything there was in the city that meant anything, Franco was there. You never hear a bad story about the guy. I mean, it was terrible that he passes just 3 or 4 days prior to being having his jersey retired and everything that went into it. And I think that's what you have quite an argument for. What the fuck? Why does it take so long?
Yeah, dude. Like, these great and how many jerseys do the Steelers have retired? 3?
He's the third,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, but why wait 50? Why wait so long? You know what I mean? There's no reason to wait 50 years.
Yeah.
There's just no reason for it. I mean, like, even Big Ben, like, I think his jersey should be retired.
I think this leads me into a conversation. I was thinking about this. I was really, really stoned a couple nights ago. I was thinking about what you had tweeted was, why do they wait so long? Like, you knew, and I'm not big on the retire the jerseys thing, especially because in a franchise like the Steelers, there are so many guys we could retire their jerseys.
Oh, Troy's
I'm going to name you 5 in the last 20 years. And yes or no, whether or not you think we should retire them. Ben.
Yep. Yes.
Troy.
Yes.
Hines Ward.
Yes.
All-time leading receiver for the Steelers. I would 100% agree on those 3. James Harrison.
Yes.
5-year run where he was the most dominant player in the NFL.
Yep.
Let's look at some of the other guys that might be, on the fringe. You could consider some other players during those Steelers Super Bowl runs. Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
I mean, so we could do this all day. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of guys. So I'm not crazy on the retire the jersey thing, but I think what the Steelers need to take significantly more serious would be maybe the Ring of Honor type of thing. And we pretty much know at the end of their career whether or not they would make the Ring of Honor. So why wait?
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. Antonio Brown, yes. He might be okay. Listen, he might be, no joke. I know all the bullshit aside. If there was a gun to my head, he is the best wide receiver the Steelers have ever had.
He is. He is. All right. We'll go on record and say this. Antonio Brown is the best wide receiver in Pittsburgh Steelers history.
Ever.
I think it's pretty much undoubtedly, he is the number 1 wide receiver. I am happy to see Hines Ward number 1. I am happy to see Hines Ward remain number 1 in receptions and, all-time yards. That makes me very happy that it didn't go to AB because AB turned into a fucking monster.
Yeah, he did.
On the field, undoubtedly the most talented, the best wide receiver. Should they retire his jersey? Absolutely not. Should he make the Ring of Honor? Absolutely not. Because of what he did.
Now, what if Ben and him won a Super Bowl or 2?
And he still went nuts?
And he still went nuts.
No. No, what he did when the way he left Pittsburgh, you don't come back from that, Jerry. You don't come
Yeah.
back from that. He left. He didn't even play the last game of the season. You remember that Bengals game a few years ago? He didn't even fucking play. I mean, that he's a dick. He's a fucking dick. And then he comes out, he says all that shit about Ben and everything else. No, I couldn't put
And
him
then
in. I
years
couldn't
later,
put him
he's
in.
tweeting like, "I miss you, Ben."
Yeah. He's a nut. He's a guy's a fucking lunatic. But
Yeah,
yes, is he electric on the field? Yes, but he fucked us. So that is what it is. No, he wouldn't make it in my opinion. But it circles back to, if you know all of these guys are great, why did they wait the 50 years for Franco? He deserved to be in there sooner. And there are some other guys from the 70s team that let's honor them in the Hall of Honor and let them have their day. They've given it to us.
Yeah,
Let's give it
that's
back to
the
them.
thing. It's not like the Steelers, like 2 or 3 years ago or 4 years ago, said, "Okay, we're going to play the Raiders this day on Christmas Eve. It's going to be the 50th anniversary." Like,
Right.
it's not like they knew that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right, which is sad. It's just genuinely that the Steelers are just archaic. They're not. They are a dinosaur franchise. They aren't going to be the ones that do this crazy exotic stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we don't change our jerseys. Why we don't change our logo, the helmet, the style, none of it. The Steelers just won't do it because they're so traditionally set in their ways. But that's the type of stuff I would like to see some changes happen, because there are guys I want to see be commemorated that deserve it while they're still here.
For sure.
What you got for your all heart player this week, Jerry?
I'm gonna go with Najee, man. I'm gonna go with Najee. We seen the back half of the year him kind of come on. I'll tell you what, like I've said all the time, especially in the beginning of the show. I mean, that guy's good for a hurdle a week.
He gave us one. He gave us another one.
Yeah, I mean, but no, he's stepped into his role, man, and he's like kind of taken over. In that last drive, he was very, very important, especially when Pickens is covered, Deontay and Freiermuth is covered down the field. Najee's there, wide open. That one play that went, it was like a little dump off to him, and he broke like a tackle, and then got it down past their 50.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I felt like he had another just all around really good game, running the ball, catching the ball, blocking. So I'm going to go with him. I think he was a big part of that win.
He bullied again. He played bully ball again, and I'm so happy that Najee Harris is finally doing that again. We don't. Again, early in the year, we rode his ass, and rightfully so. He wasn't good early in the year. He's missing holes, etc. But I think he played really good football again. He had 16 rushes for 53 yards, and he had 6 catches on 9 targets for another 42 receiving. So you're talking 100 yards of offense out of the guy, and it was crucial times he had. Like you're saying, on that final drive, he had a couple dump offs that he ended up turning into nice gains that kept the sticks moving and kept us, in front of the chains. So he's absolutely worthy of an all heart player of the week this week. My all heart is actually going to be a combined with my tweet of the week. Okay, so I'm going to read you the tweet of the week. It is for Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton has 16 combined forced incompletions and interceptions in 22. Only James Bradbury and Sauce Gardner have more than Cameron Sutton in that department. Cam Sutton had himself a game. I mean, he had himself a game. He had 3 tackles, 2 pass defense, and then he had the game-winning layout, sprawled out, at the 32 to, you had sent that to me where the Raiders released the ball, or we intercepted it like the 32-yard line, I think it was, and there was 32 seconds left.
Yeah, he threw the ball with 32 seconds left, yeah.
And then we intercepted at the 32. I mean, you're talking about, I don't like to look too deep into that stuff, but that's a crazy coincidence. That's a crazy coincidence for Franco. But Cam Sutton, I think, Jerry, is arguably a top 5 cornerback for the position that he plays in the NFL. I think he's a very good cornerback. I really do. And if they let him go after letting Mike Hilton go a few years ago for Cam Sutton, we're really mismanaging the cap on the defensive side of the ball if that's the case. That's why I would like to see Cam move some money around and give the ability to sign Sutton to a longer deal. It's going to have to happen. I think he's just too much of reliable on the backside of that ball, and he's still young. So I would like to be able to hold down a legitimate cornerback for once.
Oh yeah, for sure. We need somebody. You know what I mean? I still think they should go out and get somebody.
Agreed.
Draft or free agency. But I mean, he's done his thing this year, man. You know, he looked bad in a few games this year. The Bills game, the Eagles game. You know, he looked bad, but for the most part, he pretty much holds it down over there, man. He really
Mhm.
does. He does a good job of sticking with the wide receiver. He's good. So yeah, I'd like to see him back for sure. But at the end of the day, it's about money. You know, I mean, these players nowadays. I mean, they go where the money is. That's just what it is.
Oh, right. I mean, and it's hard. It's hard not to. I mean, you're only in the league for a very small period of time.
Yeah.
You gotta cash in. You have to cash in. So I'm hoping he hasn't outplayed what we can pay him. That's my only fear. He's played so fucking well. I hope that we can afford to pay the guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose him. What do you got for tweet of the week?
Tweet of the week. It's actually from Steelers Depot, and it was just an interesting article. I'll send it to you now. It was from Steelers Depot. It said Offensive Canada still expected to be let go after the season. The players know. So yeah, I'm not going to really break down the article too much, but you know, it's kind of like a little in-depth article, and it talks about, you know, the players have hinted at it beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. So they know something. So I think he's gone, man. And I it's my tweet of the week because I'd love to see him gone.
It has to happen,
Jesus.
and I hope it happens immediately because now we're starting to see some other guys that are decent play callers get let go. I mean,
Yeah.
who was it just fired their head coach, and he's an offensive. We could have him come in and
Hackett.
call the plays.
Hackett.
Hackett, yep, Hackett,
Yeah, you got Frank Wright out there. You know what I mean?
yep. And any of these
Jason
guys would be
Garrett.
better
Is
than what
Jason
we
Garrett on the
have.
market?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he is.
He might have been.
But you're looking at guys that are significantly better than Matt Canada. Nonetheless, I mean, look what
Yeah.
Hackett did with was it A-Rod? He had two
Rodgers, yeah.
MVPs with A-Rod there the last couple of seasons. I mean, he's going to scheme guys open, and that's, you know, the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Kenny is starting to come on and show that he is an accurate quarterback, like we've said. And so if you can be accurate anywhere 20-yard throws, you don't have to throw the ball 50 yards downfield if you can fucking be a surgeon and slice them and dice them. And we've seen Kenny do some of that, which is exciting. Jerry, let's lead to a segment I have been waiting to get to. It is our betting. It is our betting, Jerry, and you are dormy. You know what dormy means, Jerry?
Yeah, done.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't mean done, but it means you can't win. So dormy is a golf term, and it means when you are down the equal amount of holes that are left, all you can do is play for overtime, essentially. So you need me to lose the last two bets, and you need to hit the last two bets for us to go to a push, and then we'll find a way to play it in the playoffs here. As it stands on the season, I am 7-7. Jerry is 5-9. These last two games, Jerry will have to hit. He did hit his bet, Steelers 2.5 to cover 2.5. I ended up hitting my bet. It was the under 39.5. The under was the lock of a decade, Jerry. I don't know how it was so fucking cold. It was definitely going to be an under in that game.
Yeah.
The line this week looks at the Steelers are dogs at plus 135. They're getting 3 points at minus 114, and the over-under is very low at 36.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. I'm over.
Over 36 points?
Yeah, I'm going over this week.
Have we looked at the weather forecast?
Nah, I don't. Yeah.
You don't pay attention to the weather forecast, but you probably should, Jerry, because when I texted you on Saturday, I'm like, the under is a fucking it's a home run. I mean, I couldn't be more excited to bet it.
Yeah, no, that was a great bet. That was a great bet.
Yeah, you're looking at
I'm a
Sunday.
big over guy.
Beautiful day, Jerry. Beautiful day.
Yeah.
58 degrees is the high, 46 is the low, and sunny in Baltimore, Maryland on Sunday. So you're probably looking somewhere around 50. I'd still no word. So yesterday, I just saw Harbaugh say, you know, it's up in the air. We'll have to see how he practices this week. So I'd love to see him not.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, for as much as I bash that guy, you know, just because I don't want to admit that he is good, I just don't want to fucking play him. I'd rather get another crack at their backup for sure.
I got a take here, and I still think, you know, people might not like this, but to some extent, I think the NFL is rigged. So, them flexing the Steelers to Sunday night tells me
the other games are going to break our way.
The other games will break our way.
I agree. I agree. I had the same theory last night. I was looking at the other bets. Like, what do the Steelers need to have happen this week to make week 17 or week 18 just fireworks, electricity? You could get plus 720 for the Steelers money line, and then the other two games that we need to break our way. It's plus 720 money. I thought about throwing a couple $100 on it, which would pay for the whole trip if they do make the playoffs. But I'm in agreement with you on that camp that I think the NFL knows they want ratings. And it would be so easy to a play here, a play there, keep the game, so that the Steelers win, but it's a tight game, hard fought.
Yeah.
Because what do we hear in the NFL? They could call holding every play if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they leave so many of those, like we've just accepted they could call holding every play, and holding is a backbreaker. It kills you.
Oh,
If
yeah.
the NFL sets that up, they could easily manipulate the games if they wanted to. And I'm not saying they do, and I don't want to tin hat it, but
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you. I think it would be pretty easy to think that the league is fixed in some regards just for ratings and, not ultimately, but I think if they wanted a few teams to make it and a few teams not to, they could pull that off.
Oh, I think so too. But I'm going to go with the over, and I'm happy it's sunny. I think, hopefully if we do play, is it Huntley?
It is Huntley right now.
Yeah, I mean, they can't lose to that guy twice. They got to score points. They know they got to score points. I'm going to go with the over 36. It's pretty low.
Yeah, it is low. I'm going to take the Steelers plus the 3. The over-under is too low for me. I still think that our offense is just not putting up points in big numbers. If Huntley plays, their offense shouldn't put up points in big numbers. It'll be a fairly fast game like we talked about that Raiders game being, just because it's going to be two run-heavy teams. So the game should go pretty quickly. The under could hit. It's just too low of a number for me to fuck with it. So I'm going to take the Steelers plus the 3. And here's the thing, I'm nervous about it just because, I just don't like playing the Ravens in Baltimore. It is a very hostile environment, but if Kenny can come in there and he can put together another performance, Jerry, the band is starting to play for Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's if he can go into Baltimore, season on the line here, you got to fucking win, especially if everything falls our way going into that game and they all know it. And he comes out and puts another performance together. I mean, we're going to be banging the drum for Kenny Pickett.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I mean, you're talking about I would wager a lot of money if everything goes our way in the beginning of the day and it leads to Sunday night. Well, Steelers have to win. I'm taking the Steelers. I'm taking them to win.
And you'll be in Pittsburgh for the Browns game, week 18, if that's the case?
Yeah, I would go to that game for sure, yeah.
Is there no playoff games you would go to if we say we advance and we make it to the second round? By grace of God, we get the Bengals, everything falls our way, we're fucking rah-rah.
I would go to the Bengals game.
You would go to Cincinnati?
Yeah, I would. I'd go there.
You wouldn't go to Buffalo?
No.
If we made it beyond the first round, you would go to any game?
Yeah, I would.
God, I fucking hope so. There's nothing like playoff football, Jerry.
I'm just hoping I just want a chance. That's it.
Same.
I just want a chance.
I want the final week of the season to have some life to it. I want to be able to get excited next week. Speaking of next week's episode,
if the Patriots win and the Dolphins win, we're done.
If either of those teams wins, I think we're cooked. To recap, Steelers have to win out. Miami has to lose out. And they have the Jets and the Patriots. So we need Miami to lose to the Jets this week. And then the Jets have to lose to the Seahawks. The Patriots then must lose to the Bills in the final week of the season. That one's pretty much, I believe. So let's cross off the realistic ones. Patriots must lose in week 18 to the Bills. I would say yes. That's a high likelihood of that happening. The Jets must lose to the Seahawks. That is, to me, flip of a coin. I could see that happening. I think that's realistic. That could happen. Mike White, not the greatest quarterback. You know now that they're not going to play that little shithead. He's not going to play. So Miami has to lose to the Jets and the Patriots. With no Tua, they could lose both of those games.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're talking about, like, the real toss-up to me is going to be the Jets-Seahawks game. If it goes our way, look out, boy. Look out. It's going to be exciting final week of the season.
Playing for anything, right?
Who's that?
Seahawks aren't playing for anything, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man.
This week we were supposed to have Arthur Moats come on. Some things came up. We couldn't record yesterday. Jerry had some issues. So we do have him reconfirmed for next week. So we are going to record next Tuesday. So I assure you guys, we're going to have Moats come on next week. We have some funny things we're going to talk about on that end of things. Like, comment, subscribe. We love the shit out of you guys. Please continue to support this. We are building some momentum here to the end of the season, both with the team and with the podcast. So if you can share it, like, comment, subscribe it on the YouTube. Let us know how we're doing, what you appreciate, what you don't appreciate. We love you guys. Jerry, anything you want to add?
No, man. I just want a chance. I just want a chance going into Sunday Night Football. And if we do win, I'll promise I'll be there for the Browns game.
Love to hear it. You got it here. Jerry will be there if we make it to that point in the season. We love you guys. Have a happy new year. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas. I know Jerry and I had a nice Christmas to enjoy with our family. So we appreciate you. Happy New Year to you guys. And we'll see you again here. Hopefully we got one more meaningful episode in us next week.
Yep. Happy Kwanzaa. What's the other thing they do? Happy,
is it Hanukkah?
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, happy all that stuff.
Merry Christmas to you guys. We've had it. Happy New Year. We'll see you again next week. Later, Jerry.
Later. We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.